Well, good morning. My name is Ryan Marino. I work with the Tile Council of North America. I'm the Standards Development and Research Manager. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about why you should choose tile for your installation, specifically related to durability. So I know you probably can't read this. It's just a disclaimer. Essentially it says the information I'm about to go over is copyrighted by Tile Council, so we ask that you don't reproduce it. If you'd like a copy of this information, please reach out to us on our website, tcnatile.com, and we'll get you that information. The information I'm going to provide today is just for your knowledge. It's not meant to be a recommendation, and it's not an endorsement of any one particular product. So to start, I'd like to just recap what the key benefits are to ceramic tile. So limitless design capabilities with multiple sizes, textures, finishes, modular patterns, and the fact that each piece is installed one at a time really makes ceramic tile something that can be customizable for your application. It's environmentally friendly. It's manufactured primarily from clay, sand, and feldspar. So that makes it clean and healthy. There are no VOCs. There are no toxic chemicals. It doesn't support the growth of bacteria and mold. It's the best value. So when compared to other flooring products, ceramic tile has the lowest cost per square foot over its lifetime. It's perfect for wet areas. It's great for showers and kitchens and bathrooms. It's low maintenance. Most of the time, ceramic tile only requires water to be cleaned. It can be used outdoors, so it's frost resistant. It doesn't fade. It's resistant to fire and smoke. It's not combustible, and if it is subjected to fire, there's no harmful toxins that are emitted. And it's a rich artistic heritage. Again, there's craftsmanship and centuries of history that go into ceramic tile. And lastly, the topic of today's conversation is going to be tile's durability. So I'd like to ask just, what do you think when the word durable comes to mind? Do you have strong, okay? Durable, what do you think? When you hear durable, what comes to mind? Long lasting. Let's go with that one. All right, so that's exactly right. So when Stout, that's right. Well, he said strong, so, it's all there. So that's exactly what I did. So when I sat down to do this presentation, I said, what really comes to mind when I think about durable? And so the words that came to my mind were resilient, resistant, enduring, long-lasting. So what I'd like to do is just take a little bit of time and go through a few of these key words and explain why ceramic tile really fits with those. So ceramic tile is the long-lasting option. It can last the lifetime of your building, and that may not be the case with alternate flooring materials, which will require repair, replacement, or refinishing of some sort. But why is that important? It's important because it increases your property value. No one ever says, man, I'm selling my home and it's full of LVT. You'll love it. Ceramic tile sells homes. And not only that, but because it lasts so long, it's environmentally friendly, it's sustainable, and if you're not replacing your floor, that's material that's not going to a landfill. So here's just one example, I pulled out. This is actually a ceramic tile floor that was installed in a church in the 15th century. And so that floor stayed in use until about the 1860s, where it was removed and placed on display in a museum. But that goes to show you that even when it was removed, it was still in great shape. It was just no longer a church, but they wanted to preserve the church's history. This is a mosaic that was actually discovered in Pompeii, and it's thought that because of its location, it was actually in the entrance of a home, that it was a warning to possible intruders, because there were no doors, that there was a dog in the home, maybe you should leave us alone. So this mosaic literally survived a volcano. So why is that important? Well, the bottom line is ceramic tile is sustainable. So when you compare ceramic tile's carbon footprint to other materials manufactured in North America, it has the lowest carbon footprint. And that's not just for the tile, but also including the grout and the mortar, because all of those products have EPDs all put together by the Tile Council of North America, which you can find on our website. And so when you look at what that carbon footprint is over the lifetime, ceramic tile actually has the lowest carbon footprint. Ceramic tile is environmentally stable. So when you consider a porcelain tile, which is often fired above red heat, which is over 1,000 degrees, and porcelain tile is often over 2,000 degrees, that burns in a lot of durability. And so why is that important? Well, in your installation, the ceramic tile is never going to be subjected to those types of heat again. So they've already been through that process, which means they're not going to warp or curl due to heat. The installation materials aren't going to be affected in the same way. In some other flooring materials, they use adhesives that may be affected by the heat, and the products themselves may not be stable in those particular environments. Ceramic tile's color fast, it doesn't fade. That's an issue that you may see with other flooring products. About every 6 months, my wife makes me rearrange the entire living room because she wants the couch on a different side, or this chair no longer works there. And while she does that, every single day, she opens the blinds and opens the curtains because she loves all the sunlight to come in. If my floor was anything other than ceramic tile, I may run into some of the same issues you see here, where after we move that piece of furniture that's been sitting in front of the window, we'll find that the tile underneath is a slightly different color. We don't run into that problem with ceramic tile the same way you may see with other flooring products. Ceramic tile is resilient, so it's not susceptible to indentation, gouging, tearing, things like that. I can't take credit for either one of these photos. These are not my vehicles, unfortunately, but I do have a classic car in my garage, and while the floor itself isn't tiled, I know that the ceramic tile would hold up to this. When you try and put a 5,000-pound car fixed on 4 points, there's no way that other flooring materials would stand that abuse the same way that ceramic tile does. So here's just a few examples of some things that you might see just from simply moving furniture. And so what you have to understand is that in some of the warranties for these products, it clearly says not to move the furniture. Once you set it in place, it needs to be fixed in some way, or it needs to have some sort of pad underneath it to protect the flooring, which we don't see with ceramic tile. And especially in applications where the flooring's unsupported, if it's free floating, you run the risk of having puncture and things of that nature. Ceramic tile is virtually indestructible. So I have 2 young boys, and they are a handful all on their own, and then when you give them something that they can, a plastic ball bat or race cars, they're just all over the house. So ceramic tile is actually up to 10 times and oftentimes more resistant to scratch than other flooring products. And that gives it the ability to withstand the abuse from pets and from children. And just as a buyer sort of beware situation, a lot of other flooring products actually do not include scratch as part of their warranty. In fact, it specifically states scratch is not covered under their warranty. So if you don't read the fine print, you may not know that your dog's fingernails are going to cause some sort of scratching of the surface. So how are we determining the scratch resistance? So one quick way to do that is with Mohs scratch hardness. And the premise for Mohs is very simple. It's common minerals, and it works under the premise that a softer mineral can be scratched by a harder mineral. And so there are things that you would probably recognize. Quartz, often related to sand, so common in dirt and things like that, so going to be on the floor. And so what we've done as just some preliminary testing at Tile Council is we did some tests on some different flooring products. And so here you can see in the upper right-hand corner, it's kind of how we perform that test. So we take a pin, and that pin has a specific hardness, and we hold it at a certain angle and put a certain amount of weight on top of it, and then we pull that across the surface and examine whether or not there's a scratch. And so you can sort of see here, these pictures aren't super clear. I actually have these products with me if you'd like to take a look at them after our discussion. So what we see is that the luxury vinyl plank, we actually saw scratch begin at 3. With the laminate, we saw scratch at 4, but with the ceramic tile, we actually didn't see a scratch until 8. So if we go back to this slide, we can see that a scratch at 3 is a copper coin. A scratch at 2, so for example, the LVP is probably somewhere between a 2 and a 3. That makes it susceptible to scratch with a fingernail. So if you've got a pet that's running around the house, you have the potential that that's going to scratch the surface. Whereas ceramic tile is down here somewhere between 7 and 8, which means most of the materials you're going to see on your floor are not going to scratch that surface. And if you've ever cut ceramic tile, you know that you're not cutting it with a plain steel blade. You're cutting it with what? A diamond infused blade, right? So that means that you're having to come all the way down here to number 10 to actually cause enough abrasion to remove that material and cut that. Ceramic tile is durable even when it's wet. Ceramic tile is installed in wet applications all the time. Showers, bathrooms, kitchens, outdoors, and lots more. And there's decades of industry experience with installing ceramic tile in those applications. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware the TCNA handbook, which is produced by Tile Council of North America, it's published by us. It's written by a consensus group of over 100 different industry professionals. It's 500 pages, so it has a massive amount of material, and even if you're not using it as a reference guide, you can use it to do some workouts in your office because it's also like 4 pounds. So inside the book are over 80 ceramic related installation specifications, 25% of those being specifically related to installations regarding water, so in showers, in bathtubs, in specifically wet applications. And on top of that, the other methods have options if they're going to be installed in some wet application on how to waterproof that system. Because that's what this is about. It's about the system. It's not one part, it's the system. That's the way the tile industry approaches it. So what is waterproof? I went to Webster, just kind of pulled up the definition. So waterproof comes up as impervious to water. And that's important because, again, we're approaching this from a systems idea, whereas other industries might claim that their product is waterproof. The problem with that is when they say it's waterproof, they may have some more fine print that you have to get into. So, and this fine print's usually paired with things like spills must be cleaned up immediately. And I've had pets before that I'm sure when I come home in the afternoon, the water bowl is spilled on the floor, and I know it happened 2 minutes after I walked out of the door. So that water's been sitting there all day long on the floor. With ceramic tile, that's not a problem. With other flooring materials, you may not have that same kind of luck. And one thing to point out, so it says it's 100% waterproof, and then they have to explain what does that really mean. It says will not act as a waterproofing barrier. Well, then what is it doing? If you don't read that fine print, you may not know that it has to be installed a very specific way, and the seams may still not be waterproof, and that can, at the end of the day, cause some damage to your floor. Ceramic tile is able to withstand the elements. So ceramic tile, there are specific standards for determining ceramic tile's frost resistance. And so with porcelain, for example, it absorbs very little moisture. That's the definition of porcelain. It's a very low water absorption. What happens to water when it freezes? It expands, right? So if water expands and there's too much water, you run the risk of damage. But with ceramic tile, we don't have that problem. And for the same reason with installation materials, we also see that they have their own standard for determining some frost resistance, freeze-thaw type testing to ensure that they'll also withstand those kind of conditions. They can also be installed in other applications, water features, swimming pools, outdoor patio areas, all these things that are really great for your homes. So why choose ceramic tile? Well, we've talked about it's long lasting and it'll last the lifetime of your home. It's color fast, environmentally stable, so it's not going to fade, it's not going to warp or curl, even in direct sunlight. It's resilient, so it's not going to rip and tear and be punctured by just everyday living. It's virtually indestructible, so it's great for pets and kids. It's durable even when wet, so you can use it in your bathroom, you can use it outside, and it's able to withstand the elements. But possibly, and most importantly, the tile industry is a spec-friendly industry, so each one of these documents is published by TCNA, but they're written by consensus groups. And these consensus groups are not just tile manufacturers, these are manufacturers, they're installers, they're consultants, they're people completely outside of the tile industry that all have a stake in this, that use these standards to spec their floors, to spec their walls, to really put together an installation that will last a lifetime. And so we pride ourselves on the amount of work that goes into that and the ability to really create those beautiful installations. Okay, well, I'd like to say thank you. Please follow us on all the social media, Why Tile. Thank you.